pants today.
How you doing?
I had my Picture 4 something?
Yeah, that
It's a
article
really long.
we've been doing.
Yeah, I did.
I
And
had
for Scott.
I had told
That's good.
call the August 4th City Council meeting to order. We can pause for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. If you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all had a chance to look at the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consent agenda items. We've only got a couple on there. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll start with our public hearings, and I'll open up this public hearing and turn it over to John Dankoff with Lita.
Good evening. Tonight I'm presenting an industrial incentive grant agreement for an existing industry located within the city limits. The name of the company is Active Concepts. Active Concepts is located at 104 Technology Drive, right off Lithian Road in Lincolnton. They produce a raw ingredient base for the cosmetic industry. The incentive request is to help support the addition of a new building next to their current location, which is also going to include a daycare for their employees along with additional manufacturing equipment. The agreement will read, on or before August 4th, 2022, Active Concepts shall begin the addition of a building and new equipment. Then within 2 years of the date of the agreement, Active Concepts shall make an investment of $4,203,059, of which $3,658,424 will qualify for incentives under the Lincolnton City Industrial Incentive Grant Policy. Within 2 years of this agreement, Active Concepts will provide at such site at least 12 new jobs paying an average weekly wage of $1,150, including benefits. Upon approval of this request, the city will provide $15,365.38 per year in grants for a 5-year period after the project's completion. This is considered a level 2 incentive grant for this type of project. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions of John?
No.
Anyone else here wishing to speak to this issue?
Mr. Mayor, may I speak from here?
Yes, sir.
The other night at the county commissioners meeting, they had 3 incentive grants that were discussed. And a couple of members of the audience who do not understand incentive grants or what it's all about raised objection. One gentleman said, why should I have to have my taxes raised when these industries that can afford billions of dollars get an incentive grant? What he does not understand, and the only reason I wanted to speak, is the fact that people need to understand that the incentive grants are actually money that will come from taxes that the industry will pay, in that case to the county, in this case to the city. And so actually all you're doing is giving them back a portion of the money, additional money, that they will pay in taxes because of what they're doing by expanding their business. The result of that, of course, is that they will also provide longer term, once the incentives are gone, longer term value to the city's base, and so therefore it will actually reduce the taxes of other citizens. In addition to that, they're providing new jobs. So all of it to me is a win-win, and I hope people will understand that.
Yes, thank you very much, Wayne. You do a great job of helping present that to the public. I've seen you write articles about that. Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Mary Frances. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now I entertain a motion to either approve or deny the request.
Make a motion, we approve the incentive grant.
Motion by Marty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing and turn it over to Jean.
Good evening. How are y'all tonight? So first up, we have the consideration of annexation of 410 Mcalester Road, which is the Boger City Fire Department. In December of 2021, you adopted a resolution to consider this annexation. This is just an overview of the property. This next slide shows that it's in the ETJ. It's 1,220 feet from the city limits. It's, the annexation does meet the standards set forth in the state statute. It also is consistent with the city's satellite annexation policy that was adopted in 1993. If this property is annexed, the city of Lincolnton will provide fire protection, police protection, and refuse collection. Water and sewer services, it says there's not a significant cost related to water and sewer. Street maintenance would be provided by NCDOT because Mcalester Road is a state street. When you do an annexation, you're supposed to address the voting districts, but this is a fire department, so it's not. There won't be any voters at this location, but it would be in Ward 1. There won't be any revenues. There's no projected revenue due to the annexation, and expenses would be minimal. The staff does recommend approval of the annexation, and it needs to be approved with the updated site plan that Deadman Surveys did, and he did submit that.
Law enforcement out there too, though. I mean,
It's in the ETJ.
Since it's annexed, I don't know. I'm asking.
Once it's annexed, we will.
If needed, our police would be out there.
I would think
Very
so.
similar to the Abbey Park situation.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this issue? I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Mary Francis. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion to either approve or deny the request.
I make a motion to approve the request.
Motion by Roby to approve the request. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, the next public hearing is ZMA-4-2022, and I'll open up that public hearing and turn it over to Jean.
Okay, so the applicant is requesting to rezone .139 acres of land. It's currently planned business, and they would like to rezone it to R8. It's located at 1221 East Pine. It's the very last lot on Pine Street. That's an overview of what it looks like. If y'all remember, this property was rezoned last month from planned business to residential. It's currently vacant land. That's a picture of it. This picture is from the side yard to the other side. This picture is from the back of the yard looking towards the front. And then this picture is from the front looking to the back. Currently, under planned business, there's a variety. There's over 82 permitted uses in the planned business district. It includes retail stores. You could have an appliance repair shop, a gas station, an office building, a secondhand store, laundromat, dry cleaners. And these are permitted uses. So just so that y'all understand and we're all on the same page, right now, if the owner of this property wanted to open business there, all you would have to do is come and apply for a zoning permit. And as long as it was one of these 82 permitted uses, he would be allowed to open that business there as long as he could meet the zoning regulations. It would not come back to council. And all they're requesting to do is rezone it to R8, which would allow a single family or a two-family home. The land use plan, actually it being zoned commercial right now, is not consistent with the land use plan. The land use plan does show this area to be single-family uses on smaller to medium-sized lots. So at the planning board, the members voted 5-0 in favor of approving the rezoning. And the staff and the planning board both recommend the following actions. We recommend approval of the rezoning from the property to planned business to R8 and approval of the statement of consistency for the approval of the rezoning request. Any questions about this? The applicant is here if y'all have any questions of him.
Does the applicant wish to speak? State your name, please, sir.
Your shipper. Jean does a fantastic job, so I just want to congratulate her on all our presentations. I haven't had a chance to introduce myself to a lot of folks here, so I just want to take a few minutes just to say hi. We're a local builder here. We just moved into our office downtown. We're remodeling that building. It'll be ready next month. So, you know, part of what we do is we hire local contractors. We shop locally. We're the #2 customer at Lowe's right here in Lincolnton. I have a special pizza at Goodwood Pizza, so if you want to go there and just order the Igor special. Our kids are going to be going to school here. We're building our personal homes here. So I just want to, reiterate that we're here for the long term, and we're, invested in the community. So regarding this parcel here, there was a home here at one point. It did burn down. So there are already water sewer taps in place, kind of a cut-in driveway, and we're just asking one parcel of land to get rezoned for a home.
Any questions? Okay, is there anyone else?
I met with this lady about a month ago, and she's 85 years old. She's lived there all her life. She said just after, she said, "Mr. Rubin, could you tell me what kind of people might be moving in beside me?" I said, "No, ma'am, I can't." But she is very concerned, scared to death. She says, "I'm too old to move." And I think things like this ought to be taken into consideration.
If there's no one else wishing to
I have a question. With the Can you not build a house with the current zoning? You got
No,
all,
it's currently zoned planned business, so you can only put a business there. That's all you can put there is a business. Actually, over 82 different businesses, but not a house.
We've
So-
not been able to figure out why there was an overlap from Jones Boulevard, because there was really no way that you could get traffic over there without coming through the residential. But that's just the way it was. Very similar to the townhomes that they had to, it was planned business too. You know?
So it probably should have been residential all along.
Right.
Well, you would think, but there's a reason why none of us were here when that happened. So there's a reason there.
so if a business opens there, the traffic's got to come through the neighborhood?
Yeah, it's a gully. You'd have to build a bridge to get to Gerald Boulevard.
So yeah, you'd have to come through the
So you'd
neighborhood,
have to come
MLK or
through the
Pine Street.
existing neighborhood to get there.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Rudy.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now, I'll entertain a motion to approve, approve as recommended by the planning board.
I make a motion that we approve the rezoning with recommendations of the planning board.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Okay, the motion is defeated. So we'll go on to the next public hearing. Next item is,
Hey, how was that? Did you break the tie?
no,
You don't have to do that.
There wasn't a time.
one at a
What
time.
did, I didn't hear you
It was
vote.
3-1.
Okay.
Okay, next public hearing is CZ-8-2022, and I'll open up the public hearing. And I'll turn it over to Jean.
Okay, so, ahead of myself. So on this one, the subject property is located at 607 West Highway 150 bypass. The site is developed with 2 unoccupied buildings. The surrounding properties on the south side of West Highway 150 are sparsely developed with single-family residents, and to the north of 150 is the city's wastewater treatment plant. The building located on the easterly portion of the site is approximately 1,000 square feet and was formerly a TV repair shop. And actually, let me get to that building so you can see what that looks like. There's the aerial. So there's one building right here, right by the road, and there's another building right here. The building located to the westerly portion of the site is approximately 1,200 square feet and was formerly used as a restaurant. In 2012, this property was rezoned from R25 to a conditional use permit, GMC, for a metal fabrication shop. The adjacent properties are a mixture of commercial and residential, and the zoning around the site is a mixture of general manufacturing, commercial district, and R25. These are the street views of the property. This is the building that they're in reference. They want to fix this building up. This is what it would look like when they were done. It's a sporting goods store. And you can kind of see, this is the one that's closer to the road. They would have parking here. And they're working with NCDOT for a driveway permit if this gets approved.
That's right before you get to the bridge, Gene.
Oh, hang on. Got ahead of myself again. The mouse is not working with me tonight. It was Poobie
You
TV.
remember
That's
what
exactly what it
restaurant
was.
there?
I
So
don't remember a restaurant.
I don't know. I was talking to some other folks today.
it was a long time ago because that information was from the 2012 staff report that was done that it was a restaurant. So currently the land use plan designates this property as rural residential, but the North Carolina 150 corridor plan recognizes the area as suburban residential, but also allows for rezoning to more intensive commercial and or industrial zoning on a case-by-case conditional basis. So while this is not, the zoning is not in compliance with the residential land use recommendations of the land use plan, it is compatible with the Highway 150 plan. This would be a conditional rezoning, so that means if there were significant changes to the site plan, it would have to come back before council. The following comments on the screen the staff review committee had. Prior to final approval, they would have to submit a site plan completed by an architect, engineer, or surveyor. They would have to get their erosion control plan submitted and approved by Lincoln County. NCDOT would need to issue a driveway permit, and the building plans would have to be approved by Lincoln County, and all fire code would need to be met. At the planning board, members voted 5-0 in favor of approving the conditional rezoning, and the staff does recommend the following actions: approving the rezoning, approving the statement of consistency for the approval of the rezoning, and that the zoning being made effective once we receive the written agreement from the applicant and property owner with the conditions of approval. And the applicant is here if you have any questions, or if you have any questions for me.
Applicant wish to speak?
I'm here if you have any questions.
They live on an adjacent property to this, and they bought this with the intention of trying to do some type of commercial use.
Good, good. Okay, anyone else wishing to speak to the issue? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Mary Francis. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now I entertain a motion to approve as recommended by the planning board.
So moved.
Motion by Marty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item. Gene, you're getting workout today.
I just thought I'd see how long I could stand up here before y'all made me leave.
It's a resolution considering annexation of an area, and I'll turn it over to Gene.
It's a lot of words, and we did not make this stuff up. Somebody up at a higher level made this up. So this is a resolution directing the clerk to investigate a petition received under General Statute 160A-58.1, and it's in reference to Clark's Creek Landing. That was the subdivision that was approved on the corner of the Phase 1 and the Phase 2. And so what the process would look like is tonight, if y'all choose to do this, you would adopt the resolution that directs Daphne to investigate the application. Daphne would then work with the other departments to make sure that the application met all the requirements of the state statute. After that, at the September 1st meeting, we would come back and the city clerk would present a completed certificate of sufficiency stating that the petition meets the standards for a non-contiguous area as specified in North Carolina General Statute 160A-58. City Council would then set a public hearing date, presumably for the October meeting. And then before the meeting, Daphne would have to advertise the public hearing at least 10 days. We would have to hold a public hearing so that anybody could come and speak if they wish to. And then once the council made a decision, the annexation could be effective immediately or up to 6 months.
So this is the first step.
This is the first step in a 3-step process for the annexation.
Any questions?
So the opposition to this is issuing the petition, right?
The petition is actually the application for annexation. They just call it a petition.
The developer has requested annexation. We will have a public hearing like 2 steps down the road.
Right. You'll set the hearing date at the September meeting. At the September meeting, we'll talk about it again and say whether or not the application meets all the things that it's supposed to meet. And if it does, then you would set a public hearing date.
So basically, to make sure that the city has covered all the bases, to make sure that it is proper to annex this, because it is voluntary annexation.
Right.
Yeah, and it also gives the developer many stages so that everybody knows that they want to be annexed.
Right. Okay, any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Motion by Marty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Gene. And you're still up there.
I was gonna say, I'm not leaving yet. I got one more thing. This one's an easy one.
Tired of seeing you.
I'll leave. The last thing, I'll make it sweet. So I can't even get my words out now. I've talked too long. So at the July 18th County Commission meeting, they appointed, I don't know if y'all realize, but Steve Silva was our ETJ representative on our planning board, and he was just short-staffed and he could never make the meeting, so he resigned. And County Commission appoints that spot, the ETJ spot, and they appointed Rebecca Shaw at the July 18th meeting. So on July 19th, she came in, she got sworn in, and she served at her first planning board meeting. So we're excited to have her. I think she'll be a good fit, and she'll just serve through the end of Steve's term, which is in December. And then if she chooses to stay on, she'll start her first term.
This coming December?
Mm-hmm.
And just
We have 2 spots coming open in December.
Just for information, you and I talked about, she lives up Startown Road.
She's actually, you know what, she lives in a neighborhood off of Startown Road. So that's kind of a good fit. I think it would make the Startown Road people happy.
Yeah, Christine and I talked about it one day, that the next opening for the ETJ, it would be nice to have somebody from that area.
Well, we did get somebody from that area. I think it's McCree Road. She lives off of that road. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jean. You did a good job. Next item, and the good job is stopping right here because Chris is going to explain to us, hopefully in English.
I bet he does a better job than me just explaining to you and TJ does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were thoroughly confused, so you've only got one way to go, Chris. That's it.
When the third line starts hyperconvergence, I'm starting to realize
Okay, I'll kind of keep this relatively brief. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and start with it. What I have before you is the numbers for upgrading our entire city infrastructure as far as computer-wise. We would pull out the 2 old servers and upgrade to the new hyperconvergence HyperFlex system. That gives us 100%, well, we'll say 99.9% redundancy between the 2 nodes. And that's about as deep as I'm going to get on that one.
You can go deeper, but we wouldn't be with you. So,
Gotcha. So what you see there is all this was brought up pretty much by the need for cybersecurity and to put some strongholds in place, because we're going to need multi-factor authentication going forward for cybersecurity insurance. If we don't have that, it's a no-go on that. So this is giving us a little earmark to get that in the door and get it put in place for where we need it. All the numbers there that you see, the final cost ends up being $260,000. That's for all the server implementation, subscription packages, and everything for a 5-year term. So this does this right for 5 years. And after that, we'll have to look at what we go forward with, 3-year term, 2-year. The bad thing about Cisco switching and all that is pretty much subscription based now. So like everything, it's a yearly fee, 5-year fee, however you negotiate it. So, any other questions on that?
Will this protect us against ransomware?
Yes, full-on redundant backups off-site, and we already have safeguards in place for ransomware, but this kind of protects us even further. So,
Our ABC store got hacked.
oh, did it? Wow, I did not know about that. But yeah, so this will add extra safeguards in and have off-site backups to pull in. But most of our stuff's in the cloud anyway, and there's alternate versions available if we ever had that happen.
In North Carolina, you're not allowed to pay the ransom if you're local county government. That changed.
They wanted a fifth of Buffalo Trace, I think. No, we lost a bunch of stuff, but it was mostly their personal record. We didn't lose any sales records or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the lot, of course, we didn't pay anything. But they locked out some of their annotations on their own computers there at the store.
And so many times it's just individuals will see what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily about the money, it's just to see if they can get past their firewall and everything else. But
And I'm assuming that came via a phishing email that you guys have been getting the trainings on and the phishing emails for. I'm assuming it came in that way, but I'm not 100% on that one. I haven't seen
I'll
the
tell
case.
John you sent it.
So we put that safeguard in place on doing phishing emails. We've been doing quite well on it. Every now and then we have a few get in, but we've been doing quite well.
Your last last one about the Zoom. Zune. I even caught that. That's the first one I caught. So,
Miney, when you said you lost a lot, I thought you were talking about liquor.
No, they none of the store network was bothered.
So I don't know if you guys want to vote for this before I kind of bring this part along about the fiber project. Do we want to do that separate? Do I
would, yeah.
go ahead and do it separate? Okay. So any questions about the server upgrade or any of the pricing there?
if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement as stated.
So moved.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. So I do have a silver lining. I know I spend a lot of money, so I'm trying to get a little money back. We have identified a fiber project, which, as you see here, phase 1 would be 4 sites, or 5 sites, that we would quit paying AT&T currently for WAN connection, the connection between the sites. Let me pull up that chart. So with everything we're building out with what you just approved, there's the map of it, how we would run the ring around from City Hall up to the police department, down to the Welcome Center, and then to Public Works, to Betty G, then all the way back around, pretty much doing a ring around the city. It would be our city-owned fiber. The cost for AT&T currently that we pay is about a monthly spend of $3,500 per site. So yearly, $42,000. A 5-year spend is the number I went with. That's $212. That's for a 100 meg connection. What we're building out is capable of a 10 gig connection. So pricing for that is over on the right-hand side, and that's $1.3 million over the 5 years. Prelim pricing on this project, if we were to hang it and do it via a company I got a bid from, is $300K to hang our own stuff. So we would net $1 million over 5 years. Well, or not spend out $1 million. Save $1 million
for the city.
if we went ahead and stronghold and hung our own fiber.
Now, let me ask a question, because Marty brought up about the ABC store. Can we include the ABC store, or since they're, because ABC's a weird.
It is.
They're
whether or not
technically
they
not
contribute-
part of the city.
Whether or not they would contribute to the system itself, that would be a question. I don't know, Pam, do you know of anything? I don't know any, I mean, because we used to have in-kind services with them, years ago. But, I mean, if it's something we can do and they're willing to contribute to that, then I don't have an issue with it. But the logistics of going across the bridge might be different.
Well, and the reason why I mentioned that,
Because those aren't our poles.
if we can save them money, then eventually we get more money from the sale.
Yeah.
So we would actually be recouping, if that makes sense, recouping more than what we would be spending to include them.
But everything that we're showing inside would either be our poles or AT&T, but we have an agreement with them. We share poles.
Sure.
If you go across, then that's not our system. I would assume it's Duke Energy, Robert.
Yeah.
And that might be an issue.
Yeah, so that's why we built it out in phases like that. Phase 2 was a little iffy on the wastewater and water, but it's been identified that those are our poles going in there too. So I just kind of built it out in a small phase and took it in little chunks as far as the savings in that part. But if we were to bring on ABC Store, since we would be hosting their internet and everything, I'd want to take over their endpoints too and go ahead and make them like their city employees as far as accounts and all that. That way we can have full-on security if we wanted to do it that way.
But I think the county itself, they have their own system.
Christine was saying that the county has their own system that's separate and apart. The county ABC stores have their own system.
Just like ours are now.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I don't know whether we can legally do it.
I'm not sure if that's.
I don't know.
Probably not.
I just mentioned it just.
I wouldn't want to delay this for that.
No. It's one of those that if you can, and it not cost us an arm and a leg, or that they would recoup savings, and we would get that savings in return. You know, to me, it's a win-win for ABC store and the city, but I don't know whether it's legal.
I guess for what it would cost for us to get over there, we'd have to see how much they're actually spending out in tech and internet connection and security and all that aspect. And kind of
got that. You know, that was discussed at one of the meetings that I went to, and
Are they Charter or AT&T?
I can't remember.
Well, all their point of sale information goes through a contracted vendor that just about every ABC district in the state uses. So I think it just requires more exploration to see if it's feasible.
okay. But so this is kind of a silver lining. I just kind of wanted to gauge your interest on whether we should move forward with it and kind of build it out and see what it's going to look like, and maybe run forward, bring it back at a later date when we actually have firm numbers. But like I said, $300K is what we're looking at right now for phase 1.
That pretty well encompasses the central business district, right? I'm getting ready to show how little I understand about this, but would that end up being a base that from which we could build internet service to our businesses downtown?
Well, you cannot legally do that in the state of North Carolina.
We probably don't want to do that.
You'd be competing. I went to a workshop on that. You'd be competing with
the ISP, yes.
Right.
And that even could be with, same with ABC store, according to how they look at it.
I was just thinking it would help our businesses.
Yeah.
I believe 5 years ago you would have got away with it, but they lobbied and they shut that down pretty quick. So yeah, we could not do that. This would be just for a wide area network connecting site to site. But the positive thing about that, I said to 10 gig pricing on there. Let's say 20 years, we're hanging 46 strand fiber. That's going to be our fiber forever. So when we put new equipment behind it in 10 years, it could push 40 gigs. We can automatically do that. We don't have to go back to AT&T and request pricing. We're able to expand as far as we need to expand. So
Then I'll entertain a motion for Chris to go ahead and proceed with this.
So moved.
Everybody. Pick one, Daphne.
Minutes.
For the minutes.
Big one, yeah.
Roby. Roby's made the motion. Any discussion?
So moved, yeah.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chris.
I took my computer up to Chris the other day to change it. He said just forget it. I've done got it so far in messed up it can't be handled. So while I've got it, I'm just going to keep mine. You don't have to worry about it.
it's working though. He's good. He's taking care of it.
Put it out of its misery.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is a request to amend the general fund, water and sewer fund, and special revenue fund, and I'll turn it over to Pam.
Good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time is. I've been here all day, so I'm not quite sure. I'm just bringing to you, since this is the first one for our new fiscal year, basically going back through and adding back the unearned revenue that we took out for last year. So as you'll see in our general fund, we're adding back some rail trail project monies that we received from grants. We're also doing the federal equitable revenue that the police department receives from the asset forfeiture that they did not spend. But I'm also adding in addition to that, we've got some additional money for our police department. It's got some fees that were not budgeted that I want to add into that. And again, I want to reiterate, Denise has done a fabulous job with our insurance. We've received several insurance settlements that I want to put on our budget as well. That's our general fund. In our water and sewer, again, insurance settlement. We've got some additional insurance settlements from there that she has gotten for us that I want to budget out so we can pay any bills that we have regarding additional monies out of that. And our ARPA and our SCIF grants, I want to put the unearned portion of that back into our budget. I'm adding back $1 million out of ARPA and the SCIF grants from the state in the amount of $356,015 back for this budget amendment. As a side note, we did get our second portion of our ARPA money last week. That deposit was made on Friday in the amount of $1,784,705.68. So that will be presented to you next month. But we have received both of our installments of our ARPA money from the feds. Any questions?
None, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented. Motion by Mary Frances. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Pam. Okay, next up, Chief Jordan, and it's a request from the Traffic Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I wanted to tell everybody while I'm up here how much I appreciate you guys all participating in National Night Out. I hope everybody had a good time. Didn't get sick from eating too much, but there was a lot of good food out there. This is two requests from the Traffic Safety Committee to consider ordinance changes, and I guess I probably need to break these up. The first one is we need to add stop signs on. Is everybody familiar with Barclay Avenue in front of the Japan restaurant? When that was built, there was never any stop signs put up on the north and south side of Barclay for the access roads going out to Generals Boulevard, and it's just been kind of open traffic there, and we've just been kind of lucky that we haven't had an incident happen so far there. So that first request is to change that ordinance to add those stop signs on the north and southbound side of the, or lanes, ends of that, right there at the access roads. Just going into the next one, or you need to?
Just go on to the
okay.
next one too, and we'll do it all at one.
And the second one is the intersection of West Sycamore right out here in front of the fire department. A lot of people just sit at that traffic light all the time, and it gets backed up pretty bad. And the fire trucks, sometimes when they're coming out, if it's backed up, they may have a hard time coming out on the Sycamore Street there. So what the traffic committee is suggesting is that we change that. We take the actual traffic light down, and we open Sycamore Street, but we put a stop sign on the north and southbound of Government Street. So it would be a two-way stop there at the intersection of Sycamore and Government.
You want a four-way way?
Well, we had looked at that, but the issue would be that you'd be backing traffic up.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we don't need that there.
I do have this slight concern, not a major one, but we've been putting in stop signs to slow down traffic, and we put a four-way at the top of the hill there.
Yeah.
And now we're creating a thoroughfare from the top of the hill all the way to the court square. Is that something we want to do?
Well, we had thought about that too, but one of the things that we talked about is that light, the way it's set up, stays green probably 90% of the time. And you do have a factor there when it turns yellow, you got more speed because you got people that are running it.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've noticed is that a lot of people are having to sit either at the church or the fire department on Government for a long period of time, and eventually, I don't just go through it. I don't know if they think the light's broke or they just know it stays on there for so long. But that was a concern, and we talked about a four-way stop, but with doing that, you're definitely going to back up traffic in front of the fire station.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a situation, if you got 3 cars, that the fire truck would be able to come out.
We weighed the pros and cons, and I just, as of right now, this seems like the best way to go. If we need to do something later, we can always come back and do that, but I think this is probably the best way to go.
Is that speed sign in there? Or?
I think it's 25. I think there is somewhere coming down. Like there was.
I'm thinking there's probably one in that area, but that should be a 25-mile-an-hour zone there.
And we can, with our new signs, we can put one of those there. That way the people are seeing their speed, you know.
Yeah, at least for the first little bit, we could hang our electronic signs there for a while we, yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to do that because that'll also draw their attention to the change.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could come with a caution light one day. I mean, if there ever, would that?
Those never did. Besides where you had intersections.
Don't pay a lot of attention to
them.
them.
Yeah. We removed a lot of those.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to adopt the ordinances as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Next item, Richie is going to talk to us about land donation. Thank you, sir.
And property disposal as well, but that'll have to come back, because I have the resolutions. I might as well go ahead and get my stuff for the manager report, and have to say, sit back down and come back up.
It will streamline.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mayor. The first two items I'd like to talk about are the old police department, and then the next one, if you turn over the next page, is the property on Huss Street that we obtained from the family after the house burnt down, and there was a code enforcement issue, and they basically just turned the property over to the city. We had talked about these properties at budget retreat, and the discussion of whether or not we would just do an RFP or we would do an auction, and whether or not we would, if we were going to sell the building, whether or not we would tear the building down before we did the auction. After weighing through all the different scenarios, I think it's our opinion that it would be probably the easiest thing for the city, and hopefully the most profitable, would be to auction both properties off. There's a lot of companies out there, but to do so, we have to have a resolution, which if council would vote tonight, we should be able to bring that back in September. You have to identify how you're going to sell it, what the dates are going to be. You have to notify the public. There's just like anything else, there's certain steps that have to be done by state ordinance. So I'm just looking for some direction from council. I would recommend we do these properties at the same time. But if we use something like an auction.com, that goes out to everybody. The realtors see that. It's a pretty good space. If you go to just Gov Deals, then you're going to be limited to a smaller base than you would if you're on like an auction.com. So like I say, there's nothing we have to do tonight besides give me some direction on which way y'all would want to go.
When you say at the same time, you're talking about two separate auctions, but
Yeah.
deal with it all at once,
Yeah.
okay? Because that Huss Street property, that'd be nice. That's a nice lot
Yes, yes.
on two streets.
And we had looked, I know I talked to y'all before, we had looked at doing an affordable house there where you set parameters based on the federal guidelines. But for the company to come out, they were going to put 3 structures, and that lot to me is just not big enough. Yeah. The house would look very similar to what you see on Grove Street, the one that was built right there at the gas station that never has sold. You'd have 3 of those. I think if you had more space, then that would be something we'd want to look at. But we're having to mow that lot right now, so it is becoming a maintenance issue for us.
I think somebody would like to have that lot. You put 2 houses on there, the duplex.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's actually zoned R2.
Oh, it's not R8, is it? Yeah. So a single family home.
Now, in our packet, there was a resolution for auction. That was just a draft for us to look at. Okay.
So police station, as far as I'm concerned, I think we just auction it as is, but have a minimum amount.
We'll have a reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll actually, when we come back, if we do it in September, we'll have council, if they want to set that reserve then. My plans were to talk to several local real estate agents and find out, what do you think this is worth? It's so hard to, you can go by land value as much as anything, truth be known. But you don't want to set it too high, because somebody may have to tear the building down to do something with it.
Richie and I were talking, the land's really more valuable than the building, but does the city want to incur the cost of demolition?
The repair on the building, if somebody wanted to save it, the estimate was $65,000. The demo was $37,000, but that was not abatement. So we, that would have to be factored in. And I found out through the years, it's hard to guess on that. You go in there and do your study. So.
Yeah, I say take an RFP as is and see what happens. And then
You
if
want to do an
that,
RFP, or you just want to do an auction?
I'm sorry, auction it
Okay.
as is and
Okay.
see what happens. If we don't meet our reserve, then we can always come back and take another strategy.
We have a consensus with council, then we'll just bring the resolution back, hopefully in September. I think we can have everything done by then. All right. The third one is actually a donation. And if you're not familiar with this property, if you're on Main Street and you're looking, let's say, back toward Gaston College, where the tunnel is, so if you're at the tunnel, you'll see a section just to your left. There's a little retaining wall, and it goes over to the parking lot with the Cheryl Blake Harrison accounting firm. John Anderson has owned this for years, and I think his vision one day is the city could put a retaining wall in and have a linear park there. There, you know, if nothing else, it's like Nathan and I said, we've been maintaining this since we've had the rail trail, so it's not going to change anything. But there may be a time that we could utilize it, and the price is great. So my recommendation is we take the donation. Like I say, we've been maintaining it, so it's not going to affect us on that end.
Would you have to have a retaining wall to turn that to a little green space for
I would
public
think so,
use?
yeah. But you know, it's 25 feet wide, 125 feet long. But you never can tell where you might, you know, if you got some money for certain things. I don't know what the cost of that would be. The one that's there now would probably be torn down, and it is, you know, a story and a half tall is what it'd have to be. Nonetheless, it helps us on the maintenance because we've been maintaining it anyway.
Now, one, again, right beside the tunnel, adjacent to the building?
If you're on the bridge on East Main Street and you're looking back toward Gaston College, you've got Umar on your right, and then you've got the Blake or what's this? It's Cheryl Blake and Harrison.
Yeah.
This area is it's wooded. I mean, it's you know, like I say, the woods come straight up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, for him, it's a win-win for both. For him,
yeah.
He doesn't have to pay taxes on it anymore, and for us, if we ever needed to do anything, we don't have to ask permission.
Right.
It's ours.
Sure.
I think you've got consensus on all of it.
Well, will they need to vote on donation?
Just to accept the resolution to accept the donation. Approve the resolution to accept the donation.
Okay.
And there's a draft in there.
Make a motion to approve the resolution draft as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and Richie, you're up for your manager's report.
I've got a lot, so I'm not going to go through the normal dates, but if you have any question about what's going on in Lincolnton, you always go to our webpage. Had a great Alive After 5 last week, and got Too Much Sylvia, I think, coming next month, and they're a really good group as well. And we'd mentioned too in our morning meetup, we have so, you know, with Untapped and Bricktree and City Cellar, we have so many bands and individual performers that are here every weekend, and we're trying to figure out how can we get that out to the public so they can, you know, either get an email or something through social media or on our websites to where any weekend you can look and see what's in town, because those businesses do a great job bringing people in for entertainment. First of all, I'd like to welcome Jean Derby. We took the interim off and made her the full-time planning director. I can honestly say that I've received numerous thank yous from citizens and developers and other department heads, and I think one of the things that Jean stands out with, if anybody that's ever gone to the planning department, is her customer service, and she serves with a servant's heart.
and also the knowledge of the department. It's amazing for someone that's been there 5 years how much she knows about the department, how the city works, the individuals in the different departments. So look forward to working with her. And I have to say now, I think even council would have to admit, now I've hired 3 department heads: Chris, Pam, and Jean. And I'm gonna say that's 3 for 3. So if I do nothing else, I've hired good people. Okay, that make up for all the things I did wrong. But
we're not sure about that.
Yeah, well, it ought to help a little bit, you know. But I would like to mention also some individuals. Our distribution and collections. It's exciting when you have one person pass or get their certificate, but we had several this last time. Colton Gant received his North Carolina Grade 3 Collections Operator Certificate. Matt Muse, Jamie Shaw, and Kobe Ayers all received their Grade 2 Collection Operator. Ryan Poovey received his North Carolina State Cross Connection Backflow Operator Certificate, and Taylor Braun received his North Carolina Grade 4 Collection Operator Certificate. So, like I say, that is not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of studying that goes behind it, a lot of knowledge you've got to have. So we just want to congratulate them in that. I also want to mention something too, an email that Todd sent Robert and I. And I don't know what our average taps have been over the years. There's probably been years it's been 5 or 10 maybe. But so far this year we've had 90 taps. And that's not including the 33 that we're going to have on the new townhomes at Country Club. So those guys have stayed busy throughout the last 2 or 3 years. Not only the breaks in the lines and the repairs that they do on a daily basis, but also hooking up new customers. And as we know, you know, you're not only making that fee for that tap, but that's a water bill you'll get for the rest of the, as long as that building's there. So just wanted to, just a shout out to those guys. They do an excellent job, and we stress customer service. And I promise you, I can't tell you the last time I received a complaint on that department. And Robert echoes it every time he gets a chance, but they do an excellent job. It's all our departments do. I also like to thank Senator Ted Alexander and Jason Sane. They were able to get us an additional $87,000 plus in the state budget, and I think that can be used for recreational use. They will detail it out whenever it comes down. To give you an update.
And just a little footnote, Christine bulldog there.
Worked hard. What Ted Allen?
So
yes.
Just a little footnote there. Christine did above and beyond.
Yes. Like I say, the money that we have received from the state has allowed us to expand and improve our recreation facilities. Speaking of projects, have y'all seen the parking lot continues to get closer to getting to the paving stage. We just got information from David Ledford that the design part is finished at Highland Drive for the parking and the playground. So we'll be going to bid there shortly. And then he's on the final stages of the design for the Plaza project on the rail trail. So that will be bidded out as well. So we've got a lot going on construction-wise. I also like to mention, I call it Dave's Deals, because David Ramsey handles all of our property disposal and assets and as far as selling. And so far this calendar year, we have sold over $178,000 worth of assets, most of that being vehicles. Now that number will come down a little bit because we'll pretty much be on the enterprise fleet maintenance program going forward, so we won't have our own vehicles to sell. Those will be sent back for equity and to lower our cost. Also, since the last time we met was in June, I'd like to say thank you to all the staff and volunteers who helped with the July 4th celebration. It's probably one of the largest parade crowds that we've seen that I remember. The fireworks as usually it was awesome. We had probably one of the best grand finales. It just happened to be in the middle of the fireworks. But you know, nobody really, well, it was talked about, but everybody did say, but it was a great show, you know. But you know, it's those type of events that make the city of Lincolnton what it is and who we are. That was a free event for everybody. Thanks to the City of Lincolnton and Lincoln County for sponsoring that event. And like I say, the volunteers that every year come out and organize our parade, and staff, because you got to realize our staff, they're working on their holiday, and a lot of people don't realize that for some of those people, they're not getting paid extra. They're set salaries. So, and Mayor, I was going to let you maybe mention the Business View magazine article. I know you were. I will mention this. The mayor is a pretty good salesman, because he convinced the North Carolina League to let us be one of the ones that were going to be featured in the magazine, and told them about all the things that had gone on, and we were selected. Just 2 or 3 cities, I think, were selected for this.
Yeah, there was up to 6 cities, and I think they cut it off after 3. But that for Lincolnton is a major achievement, and would like to thank Cliff and Richie, and I did interview yesterday, and went exceptionally well. We're hopefully going to get some good press and good advertisement for the city. And the league has been very. We wouldn't even be recognized if North Carolina League of Municipalities hadn't contacted me. So it was a double positives for Lincolnton.
Yeah, I'm glad, because we've worked together in a bipartisan way, and I can't think of a community that's changed as much as this community has in the last 8 years. You think about where it was 8 years ago, where it is now, and
I had a comment from a citizen at the Live After 5 that it was remarkable and we've always had a great downtown, but we've added the right things to that, and people are excited about coming downtown and spending their money here, and that's good.
And Gene is going to help next week with pictures, and we've got some businesses identified that we felt like that needed more recognition or had taken advantage. And Richie and I were talking. Most of the businesses have profited or from the incentive grants. So we couldn't have done it if we hadn't had those incentive grants. The money that was paid during the COVID to help our businesses stay in business. So we've tried to be more business related and help for the businesses, and it's nice to get recognition for that, for a change.
I talked to a ex-city councilman from Cherryville the other day. He said it was remarkable what went on down here in the last 8 years. It really made me feel good, And they're having a hard time up there. They're struggling in Cherryville.
Our neighbor, Kings Mountain, now is the president of the North Carolina League of Municipalities, and I'm sure that because he and I have talked several times, and he was instrumental in getting the recognition. So.
We got an invitation over there too. We need to.
But yeah, thank you, Richie.
And lastly, I just wanted to point out on your code enforcement list, because I went around today at lunch, and 3 of those have already been taken care of. So you will see from time to time, because we get the report. It's ahead of this meeting, but like I say, 3 of those have been taken care of. So.
Can I ask a question? Because I get asked this all the time, and I want to make sure I give the right answer. Does a neighbor have to complain about their neighborhood in order for us to do something, or do we have criteria? Do we apply that criteria, or do we have to pit neighbor against neighbor?
The way some of it, and Gene, you correct me because I know I'm not going to state this right, but the way some of it is written, it's actually 5 neighbors have to petition, or, and this is the or, a government official can bring it up for code enforcement. Am I correct on that?
That's on abandoned structures.
Okay, because I know one time we had an issue, and basically the person's like, well, I've got to get 5 signatures or whatever, but I think a public official could do the same
We're
thing.
doing pretty good on abandoned structures. I mean, I feel real good about, once again, the last 6 or 7 years, we've made good headway on that. But I'm talking about, all these overgrown houses, and does a neighbor have to complain, or can we ride by and look and say,
The neighbor don't like to complain.
Nathan
that puts them on the spot.
cleaned up, the neighbor's still there.
Right, your grass. Nathan will turn those in every week.
We were the ones that recommended Country Club and
Lithium. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's moving forward, from what I understand. But it just seems unneighborly.
It's I know, and we've dealt in my neighborhood with that, and it's but a lot of what we do have some complaints that come to the office, but a lot of what you see on here is also employee driven as well.
Okay, thank you.
You forgot to mention, we got a new mural going up.
Oh yes,
That's looking good too.
And I will reach out to y'all, because once it's complete, they would like to have some type of ceremony, preferably in the morning or late afternoon.
Make it late afternoon, the sun will be down.
We'll ask Richie whenever he plans to.
Yeah. Well, I felt for those guys, because there's been some hot days, but they have tried to work on it in the morning or later in the afternoon. But yeah, they had mentioned that when they get everything completed, they're going to bring in a lot of the veterans, the people who were served in that guard back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. So we may have to end up shutting that section of Aspen down, which is fine. But it would probably end up being most likely a Saturday morning, maybe, because they'll want to make sure that people that are at work can come to it also. But I'll let you know. Jim said he would let me know when they get something, some dates in mind.
I don't know whether you're aware of this or not. You might be, but Dale Punch, he got that lift donated, saved about how much? About $36,000. And I thought that was pretty great of you.
Mayor, I was jealous that you let Richie talk as much as you let me talk. So I just wanted to come back up. I have a minor housekeeping thing we needed. I missed it, and I apologize. So because you denied ZMA 4-2022, I needed 2 motions. I need a motion you did the motion to deny the request, but I also need you to do a motion to approve the statement of consistency that denies the request.
Okay.
So it's just a little housekeeping thing. So if y'all could just.
Okay. On the ZMA 4-2022, and refresh us, which one was that?
That was the Pine Street, the rezoning from planned business to R8.
Okay, since it was denied, I'll entertain a motion to deny the request for rezoning.
No, you already did the motion to deny. I needed the motion to approve the statement of consistency. Oh, no, sorry. Let's let Daphne talk.
I think we need to do both.
The motion was actually to approve, and it failed.
Oh, okay.
So now I need a motion to deny.
Oh, so we need 2 motions then. Okay.
Entertain a motion to deny the request for rezoning.
So moved.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And now I entertain a motion to approve the statement of consistency for denial of the request. Motion by Mary Frances. Any discussion?
That's strange language.
It is. Hey, and I had the cheat sheet. Let's see now, where was I? Motion that's been made. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And next item is the public comment. Did anybody sign up for public comment?
No.
We are going to go into closed session, but for the sake of press, do you have any questions?
I'm confused, so maybe somebody can straighten me out. The one you just voted on, was that vote 3-1 to deny?
Yes.
Am I correct about that? Christine made a motion to approve it earlier.
And it failed.
And it failed 3-1.
All right, so it's 3-1 now to deny it, is that correct, or?
Yeah, I did not make,
Yeah, so it was still 3-1 to deny.
Okay, so she voted against the motion to deny.
Right.
I'm also confused as to why the other three council members voted no.
That's a issue that you'll have to take up with them individually.
I shall as soon as possible.
Okay. Then I entertain a motion to go into closed session, and TJ, if you'll give us the reason why.
To discuss property acquisition in accordance with NCGS 143-318.11A5.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
so moved.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll be in closed session. Does everybody want to take about a 5-minute break?